shows, but that in no way furthered her objective of being a great real estate developer. I'm Jim Taylor, CBS News.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Dive teams say they found more parts of that plane that went down Monday. John Scruggs with the Sheriff's Office dive team said that they have a key area that they're searching, and they've employed high-tech camera equipment that was brought in to help with the search. It can dive autonomously without human assistance. There are still human divers on the case, although they can only be submerged for about an hour due to the cold temperatures. The Lookout Mountain Drug Task Force announced a massive bust conducted in Rossville. Reports say 15 people were arrested and charged with 32 different drug charges related to possession of marijuana, meth, coke, pills, and guns. Investigation is still ongoing. A Ray County girl, just 10 months old, was booked into Erlanger Children's Hospital here in Chattanooga, suffering from severe bruising and a fractured arm. Detective Rocky Potter in Ray County told WTBC that James Earl Alexander was arrested, charged with aggravated child abuse. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, talking 92.7 Action News now.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
I went whitewater rafting a few years back, and man, it was fun. This is Bruce Dodd with People's Home Equity, a mortgage company right here in Chattanooga. The water was up that day, and the rapids were pretty challenging. Our guide had traveled the river hundreds of times before and knew exactly where to go and how to approach each rapid. I learned that it's important to know when to paddle, when to coast, and the communication is vital. The mortgage world has become a lot like a whitewater trip. We do mortgages all day, every day. Your mortgage is our priority. If you're looking to move this year, then get the pre-qualification process started with professionals who can help you navigate the mortgage industry. We know when to paddle and when to coast. If you're ready to move, call us at People's Home Equity, 423-591-9801.
People's Home Equity is still closing loans in less than 30 days. Call them now to get pre-qualified. 423-591-9801. 423-591-9801. Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal housing lender.
Do you know who I am?
No, I can't say that I do.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Really?
People know me.
92.7.
Shirt actually made a Fred shirt. You're listening to Fred the Show. My name is Jeff Stiles with a Y. Thank you very much. And it said on the back, "Shut up and listen." And people would come up and they'd go, "Man, I love that shirt." And then they'd start talking about the shirt, and then they would make their way into something else. And it didn't work. It didn't work. We have some guests in the studio today here on Fred the Show. Tom Benson with the Tennessee Aquarium IMAX. You may remember him being a weather dude for years and years. And Tom, good to see you, sir. How are you doing today? Very glad to have you here. And we also have Andy Johns with us for the Lookout Wild Film Festival. And Andy, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Long time no see or
Indeed.
speak. And Tom, we're going to go with you first. IMAX, an incredible format, and not that many people take the time or the money or the expense to actually shoot an IMAX. Luckily for us, sometimes it's the more extreme outdoor sports people who actually do take it to the mat. And one of the most incredible human achievements, in my opinion, ever has been chronicled and documented in IMAX form, and you guys have the movie.
Yeah, I think for years you've been one who's always said that rock climbers are some of the best athletes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just watch them do what they do.
Yeah.
And, you don't see anybody with a pot belly out there. You don't see anybody out there who's got, weak wrists, doing this. And free climbing, I have a good friend. Almost all my friends were more into climbing than any of the other sports that we shared. I climbed enough to know that it was not the sport for me. But, I mean, we had one guy that would basically go and set the marks for the rest of us to be able to have a safety line.
Yeah.
And he would free climb these things, and I would just be so tense.
Yeah.
The sphincter meter was high, yeah. And we're talking about 120 feet. The El Capitan's a little bit more than that. Alex Honnold, who came to town a year, 2 years ago, and actually autographed his book, Alone on the Ledge, for me, which I looked for yesterday and could not find. But they've got a new movie out. It's just called Free Solo, and you guys are showing it.
Right. And so, we have these opportunities every once in a while where a film company or a filmmaker wants us to do some special screenings. And it just so happens that IMAX is doing this nationwide release for 7 days. And we're one of the theaters that was able to pick this up and work it into the schedule. So starting tomorrow night and Saturday night at 7 p.m., and then Monday through Thursday of next week at 6 p.m., we'll have special screenings of Free Solo. It's a film that's about an hour and 40 minutes in length. And it really gets into not only, the beauty and grandeur and majesty of Yosemite, but kind of gets into the mindset of Alex Honnold and what drove him to do this incredible feat of athleticism to climb El Capitan with no ropes and no safety gear.
No safety gear at all. I mean, he literally is just a fly on the wall. He is a spider going up the most recognizable and most, I guess, desired climb for any rock climber in the world. It's the face that every rock climber wants to conquer. And I said, I think that the average, very experienced rock climber, it takes them 3 days and 3 overnights to get up to the top. And he just took off with nothing but his hands and feet. I don't know that he asked permission. I doubt it. What was the length? What was the time?
It was like 4. It was some really short amount of time.
It was like 4.5 hours. It was under 5 hours.
4.5 hours or something like that. And so when I first, when we start thinking about this film, I didn't know anything about Alex Honnold. I didn't know anything about Free Solo rock climbing.
Nor should you. Nor should I. That's not something you just want to dive into,
That's absolutely
true. Let me get
true.
about 200 feet up here and go, I'm tired. How do I get down?
So,
going down's a bitch, man.
I see the trailer and I'm like, this guy is completely nuts.
Yeah.
Who would do such a thing? But in the process of researching and looking and seeing interviews with him, his TED Talk, and some other, videos that are out there on the internet, you really come to understand that this guy is very well spoken. He's very well thought out. He is the complete opposite of a nut.
What you would think. And he's one of the nicest people that I've ever met that is at the absolute pinnacle of their sport.
Right. And, unlike people who, like me, who might go to High Point Climbing and Fitness and try it in a safe environment with all the attachments. And that's how Alex got started in a climbing gym when he was like 9 or 10 years old.
Which would be the time to start, actually.
Yeah, and he's been doing this, his whole life. And so when you get to know kind of his personality, I think this film really kind of has many layers that would appeal to a lot of different people. If it's just somebody who's interested in seeing, kind of one of those adrenaline rush films, that's cool. But if you want to see an interesting story and kind of get into the mindset of not only the climber, but the family and friends, what they thought of this feat. And Jimmy Chin, the award-winning director who produced this film, is a very close friend of Alex's. And, he had some mixed emotions.
I was going to say, and I guarantee you that he tried to talk him out of it.
Right. And
no doubt in my mind.
There's an interesting article in Climbing Magazine that you can find online if you Google it, talking about that. The outdoor writer who covers climbing as a profession said that, this was something that he had mixed emotions about. He said, first off, let me get it out of the gate here. This is not a review. I think it's a great film. Everybody should go see it. But these are kind of the discussions that others have had about this film. Like, did the film crew promote him going out there and, risking his life to do this? And that wasn't the case. Were the, thoughts of they had climbers with the cameras that couldn't talk to him. They were, dead silent because they didn't want to distract him in any way when he was on the face of the mountain. But
he's sticking his hand, like he's doing a karate chop into a crack in a rock and then making a fist. And that's the only thing that's holding him. And it's a mile down. You don't, hey, dude, you got a light? That's not cool.
Right. And so, and even more than that, you can see there's points where it's just the fingertips and the tips of his toes in the climbing shoes.
It's insanity. Now, literally watching this film on that huge screen with the surround sound system will be guaranteed to make you tense up. I'm talking about literally watching my friend who was totally fearless and is still to this day, and he's older than me, and he's still doing crazy stuff. And And I would just absolutely be terrified for him. And, that's a 1% of what Alex has pulled off.
Yeah. And, just his accomplishments, just the fact that you can almost imagine how nerve-wracking that would be, but he's totally calm.
He is not nerve-wracked. Watching it is more nerve-wracking than him doing it.
Absolutely. And when I first saw the trailer on my computer screen at my desk, I started getting nervous. And I'm kind of like, how many times am I going to have to look away from the screen when I go to see this in the theater? But it's interesting because he did the climb with ropes about 4 times in preparation for this. Really examining the routes, looking for those places where he could, put the fingers. And rather than, somebody who would very meticulously map something out on paper and think about that, he has the unique ability to map those things out in his mind. And when he's free climbing, he's already, he knows because he's kind of gone through the motions.
Well, as they say, he's already picked his line.
Exactly.
He knows exactly where the next move is going to be. And again, for those who do not know, Fred the Show, by the way, Jeff Styles with a Y. I moved here in '84 to be a hang glider pilot, and I enjoy adrenaline-producing sports, outdoor adventure sports. That's what has driven me and been my passion in life. But I mean, I got started even in hang gliding at 24, 25, and that's old to be starting any kind of extreme sport like this. That's a late start. And I always joke around and say I've been trying to kill myself since I was 14. But I mean, this is beyond normal human endurance or ability. It is literally, as I said earlier this morning, and I hope I'm incorrect, but I don't think I am. There will be people who will try to repeat this feat and they will fail. And there's no doubt in my mind.
Right. And so that's, kind of one of the tugs of this film that a lot of people have been talking about. Are there some climbers who, would think about this, but, this is an individual who is, physically a different kind of human being, from his hand size. There was a 60 Minutes interview that I saw, and he talked about, the size of his hands and
freakish.
And the reporter, put her hands up to his hands, and he said, I've been climbing since a kid. So all of my fingers, all of the muscles, all of the tendons are just,
extended.
Yeah. And so when you see him on the face of this rock, I hate to say it, but he's Spider-Man.
It really is. Yeah. Don't do this at home. Don't try this at home, kids. Fred the Show, by the way, sponsored by People's Home Equity at chatmortgage.com, 2 T's, chatmortgage.com, NMLS 66247. Good folks, if you need some help in getting a mortgage for a home, and we appreciate them very much. Tom, don't move. I want you to get a plug-in for exactly, when the show starts and times, stuff like that. But Andy, I want to get you up on the mic too, because last year, the Lookout Wild Film Festival, which is coming up, it's going to be the 24th through the 27th, Tivoli Theater, new, larger location. Good for you guys.
Moving up in the world. That's right.
Absolutely. After, actually really helping resurrect the Walker. Thank you very much.
I think we're the first place to sell it out. So it's great.
And you would describe the film festival how? In a sentence?
Well, it's covering a lot of what you guys have talked about. It's we always say we're showcasing wild places and the people they inspire. And Alex would certainly be one of those. Yeah, right.
He had 2 films last year, and I've not missed one yet. And every time I go, I get mad at the people I invite who don't go with me. Because I just say it's the most inspiring thing. As a matter of fact, I mean, a couple of years ago, I finally said, "The heck with this! I'm not going to sit here in the dark anymore. I got to go out and get on my board. I got to go do something." I took my skateboard and went, 9:00 at night in downtown Chattanooga and went boarding around, in the middle of January, because it just absolutely just inspired me. I needed to be more active.
Well, one of the reviews for the festival this year, Sonny Montgomery over at the Times Free Press wrote, when she attended the festival, she left with this feeling that there's so much to do.
Yes.
And that was meaningful to us because that's exactly what we're after.
Every single day of your life, you could take on a new challenge and never be able to achieve, what these other people have achieved. You might be able to take a shot at it. But things like this are totally different. I want to talk to you, and we actually have a pair of tickets to give away. If you would like to give us a ring at 800-8949, 800-8949 to the Lookout Wild Film Festival. But Alex had two short films last year, and one was really not about him climbing. It was about him helping a buddy get back into climbing, who used to be a partner of his, and he had gotten into the filmmaking so much that he had lost his climbing chops.
Right. Renan Ozturk was the guy, his partner. And I think that's really what people are surprised by. You know, they come to the festival thinking, if they've never been before, thinking this is going to be, like Tom said, the adrenaline films, a bunch of 4-minute kayakers going off waterfall
with a bunch of
jump step in the background.
Limp Bizkit in the background or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's the characters like Alex and the stories that are being told. You said 25 is old to start hang gliding. We've got a film about an 82-year-old mountain biker and ski racer this year. And we've got a 92-year-old trail runner who, we've got another film on. So it's inspirational stories and the characters behind it that really get people coming back every year.
Well, you stick with me. Don't go anywhere, both of you. But all right, Tom, as far as the free solo goes, times, information, how do people, hook up?
Yep. Friday and Saturday night at 7:00, and then Monday through Thursday next week at 6 p.m. will be the screenings of the Tennessee Aquarium IMAX Theater. It is a 2D film, and you can walk up to the box office and purchase tickets. We hope to have the online ticketing going today. If not, we'll certainly have it by tomorrow.
All right. So there you go. That's you go to the website. It's TNAqua.
Yep.
TNAqua.org.
Correct.
Yeah. Don't go to com or gov.
Well, if you do TennesseeAquarium.com, it'll redirect.
It'll take you there.
Yeah.
It'll take you there. And it won't ask you whether you are a male, female, or custom, like that one did for Jason this morning, which we still haven't figured that one out. That'd be a totally different film festival, a totally different film. But we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about this film and also what Lookout Wild has done. And certainly a big step and achievement for them to move to the Tivoli. And wow, boy, you guys inherited a heck of a system over there. Because I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody the other night, and wow, it's incredible.
The biggest screen of its kind in North America, what they're telling us.
A sound system like you cannot believe. It's just unimaginable. For the show, Nuga Radio, thank you very much for tuning in, Jeff Styles. And you notice how Jason got out of the way of the camera for the Facebook Live people? I can't tell you how much criticism I got yesterday for not getting out of the way when my wife Rebecca was in here. And I'm used to that. Your
wife is bigger than you are.
Yes, it's still in my feelings.
I'm the dude. That or his dudeness, Duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now,
a shooting and a crash just yards away from each other. The Chattanooga Police Department confirmed a man was gunned down on Ivy Street Tuesday night. Then just yards away, a person was hit by a car at Ivy and 5th. No word yet on if the two incidents are connected. The CPD is on the case. The Bradley County Sheriff's Office says a man who escaped from Hamilton County Jail made off with almost $70,000 worth of stolen equipment. Cody Dilbeck escaped from jail in Hamilton County and allegedly stole a truck, then made his way up to Cleveland before he was nabbed again. The recovery efforts continue today for the missing plane that went down near Saudi Daisy. Boat teams trawl the water searching for the wreckage of that downed aircraft. Reports say searchers know the make and model of that airplane, and they know the identity of the pilot. The FAA and the NTSB have been of little help due to the government shutdown. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News, now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
As a small business owner, you know that running a business is no easy task. You're in the office and on your third cup of coffee before most even roll out of bed. That's why you need office equipment and solutions that help keep your business running smoothly. The experts at RJ Young provide office technology that ensures your business's network stays efficient and secure, so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. To discover how RJ Young can help your small business grow, visit rjyoung.com/smallbusiness.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
The first responders, these are the men and women who put themselves in harm's way for us. And here at Nooga Radio, we want to do our part to say thank you. On Nooga Radio, every Friday is First Responder Friday. We'll honor a first responder with a thank you gift from Nooga Radio's community partners. If there's a first responder you'd like us to honor, go to NoogaRadio.com and submit your nomination. First Responder Friday, sponsored by Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, the Mad Philly Sandwich Shop, New York Pizza Department, and Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Have a car wreck in Tennessee? Why hire an Alabama billboard lawyer for your car wreck? You'll never, ever meet that guy. Warren and Griffin work here, live here. You get to know them. You have a car wreck? Call Warren and Griffin. 265-4878, 265-4878. And let me tell you, they've got a killer thing going on right now, the Hands-Free Tennessee petition to save lives and make our roads safer. Put down your cell phones and just drive.
I'm having trouble with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
Nooga Radio.
Only the darkness can keep you warm. All the evil that light is.
It's comfortable in here.
Why you looking
for a
for
change,
some
which is
love?
weird. I was going to say it's more like a
Give me
sauna in here, literally.
I don't think they turned our vent off.
Whatever it is, let's don't change it. And it feels fantastic out there. I think it's 23 degrees up on top of the mountain this morning when I left. And right at 29 when I got into the city.
Yeah, 29 right now.
Fred, the show brought to you by People's Home Equity. Thank you very much. People's Home Equity, if you're in the housing market, or you might be very well in the housing market sometime in the near future. But don't forget, People's Home Equity, chatmortgage.com, chatmortgage.com, NMLS 66247. And thank you again to RC2RealtySolutions.com. If you need to get out of the housing market, get out from under a distressed property, Robin and Lynn can help you out. Info at RC2RealtySolutions.com. And Kelly Subaru, KellySubaru.com. Of course, new Subarus and a great selection of previously owned vehicles. And Tim Kelly's going to join me a week from today here during the same time slot. And we've got Tom Benson in here right now and Andy Johns from the Lookout Wild Film Festival. And Tom, get one more plug in again for the website and how people get tickets to go see this new movie about this incredible feat that was pulled off. And we're debating amongst ourselves as to actually how long it took, and it depends on where you Google. But Alex Honnold, who climbed El Capitan in Yosemite without any kind of safety equipment whatsoever, just plain climbed it.
Yeah, Free Solo is a National Geographic film, and it was done by award-winning director Jimmy Chin, who's a friend of Alex Honnold's. And this starts tomorrow night. Friday and Saturday we'll have 7 o'clock screenings, and Sunday through Thursday of next week. We only have 7 showings, but Sunday through Thursday it'll be at 6 p.m. And you can get tickets at the box office at the Tennessee Aquarium IMAX Theater. Or just go to TennesseeAquarium.com or tnaqua.org to purchase tickets online.
And Andy Johns is with us again from Lookout Wild Film Festival, and it begins. I don't even know, what is the date. What is the date? I have no idea. The film festival begins when?
2 weeks from today. So it is January 24th to 27th.
At the Tivoli.
At the Tivoli, the Jewel of the South.
At the Tivoli. And so that, the people have been going, and you guys have had sold out, days, matinee shows and nights for the last few years. Right? It started, as all things do, baby steps, but was a success right off the bat. And I don't know that I've ever attended where it wasn't a sold out performance after the first year.
After the first year is pretty sparse. But with the films we've shown and with the audience we have here in Chattanooga for, people hungry for outdoor adventure, the great partners that we've got like Spectrus and Kelly Subaru have really, moving to a premier venue in town here is
Friends and Talk
big
Radio
deal for us. Yeah.
Friends and Talk Radio. It is short films, which I've said literally, I've seen some that were no more than 5 minutes long, including a couple that were made here locally. We're, a home of almost every sport other than surfing. Literally, we are one of the central locations that people from all over the world come to. And they go up to how long? What's the longest a short film can be?
Well, so one of the shortest films we have this year is actually one of my favorites. It's only 3 minutes long. It's called A New View of the Moon, and it's a guy who just takes a nice telescope out all over LA, points it up at the moon, and gets people to look in it. And it's amazing how many people. I'm getting chill bumps.
I love that. I love that. I said yesterday, I'm one of those guys who looks up, and I can't, I can't get people to do it enough. I walked out yesterday morning on my way here, and there's Orion, just so stark and bright in the sky. I don't know if y'all saw Venus this morning. Just amazing. It would hurt your eyes to look at it.
I was just looking at the moon last night through the thin veil of Sirius and the sunset. It was a beautiful sky last night.
Absolutely.
So that's one of our shortest ones, and it's amazing how many people don't believe that it's actually the moon. They're like, "Is this a video feed?" He's like, "No, it's the moon. It's right there."
It's right there, dude.
This year we'll also be showing the longest film we've ever shown, which is one called The Bikes of Wrath. And you may guess from the title, they're recreating the Grapes of Wrath book. The Okies going from Oklahoma out to California.
The route that Tom Joad took. And
the Joads, yep. And they're doing the same amount of money adjusted for inflation that the Joads had to do it. So they start off, I think the Joads had $20-something. So they're adjusted for inflation. That's $426 to go from Oklahoma to California. It's 4 Australian guys, and they're trying to do it on that much money by bikes. And it's a good story showing on Sunday.
Do they do the speech? Whenever there's somebody with wrecked calves and tired thighs, I'll be there.
They do have people reading sections from the book along the way. So
that's one of the best ever.
That's about 101 minutes. So that's the longest film we've ever shown.
So just right out. Yeah, I was going to say. So that still qualifies as a short film, I guess. I mean, do y'all go by Academy standards or just whatever you want to do?
Whatever, yeah, pretty much whatever we want to do.
That's the way to do it.
We know what fits in Chattanooga. We know what people want, and we've got a pretty good. A lot of the films are going to be between 10 and 20 minutes, which seems to be kind of the sweet spot.
It's amazing. I mentioned yesterday when I talked about you guys coming in, the one I cannot remember the gentleman's name or what the name of the actual film was. I don't think it was much more than 5 minutes long, but it was about the African American ornithologist, the bird watcher. And he said the dangers of being a black bird watcher. Well, number one, you might be mistaken for the other black bird watcher. And I said, I don't understand why we have such a dearth, a lack of people of color and minorities in these outdoor adventure sports. It doesn't make any sense to me. I've been working on that for years, and I haven't made any headway. I know that there's some programs out there, but there needs to be more.
Yeah. And once again, this year on our screening team, we had what we called the Bro Patrol, which their whole job was
literally looking for them
to make sure that our film festival wasn't all 20-something white dudes.
It's not something that's racist. It's just observation.
Sure.
I mean, you might see a few brothers in the river. I can think of a couple of hang glider pilots, and they were from Europe or someplace else.
Right.
And none climbers.
Well, we've got
even one of the hottest climbers right now is I think is a 14-year-old black kid out in California. I can't think of his name. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he came to the festival a couple years ago. This year we do have some climbers coming in from Memphis. There's a film called Safe Haven, and it's about a climbing gym that opened up in inner city Memphis. And when it opened up, everyone said, "Nobody's gonna go. This audience doesn't climb. What are you talking about?" And the guys are actually going to be here to help talk about the film. It's run by a bunch of African American folks and getting that group into climbing. Good. And it's been such a great thing for them to do, and it's a very inspirational story.
I mean, the same theory behind boys clubs and girls clubs is you just basically you've got to take up their time with something else so they can't get into trouble, and it works for rural folks, but it never has reached into the inner city. It just makes sense.
And there are some high school programs that are starting some climbing classes and climbing programs. So, hopefully that will continue to build and get more people and more diversity interested in the sport of climbing, because a friend of mine contacted me about Free Solo, and he was hoping that there was an earlier show so he could bring the whole class. But they're going to bring a couple instructors and some of the students on one of the screens.
I mentioned to Tom too in the Sunday paper and the Parade, magazine pullout. There was an interview with an actor I'm not familiar with. I never watched The West End or West Wing or whatever. But he's from that, and he's been in a couple of films. And he said one of the questions was, "What was the best movie you saw in 2018?" He said Free Solo.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that it had been shown at that point.
Nope.
But I think people don't understand. You don't have to be an adrenaline junkie to appreciate these films. The majority of the people that are there are probably, outdoor enthusiasts or have been at some point, but it's not just
for this, for anybody. And so these things they're tear jerkers. They can be. I think it'd be uproariously funny.
What I think is cool about Lookout Wild and Free Solo and any of those films is we have the ability to, be actual observers in this area. Sandy and I went hiking on Sunday and we ended up over at Suck Creek, and I'm never going to be a whitewater paddler, but I love, kayaking, flat water, but I could sit there and really enjoy, watching those guys shooting the rapids on Suck Creek.
Right now, the creek boaters, of course, are having a heyday.
Absolutely.
This is absolute
They're having a good winter.
Yeah, they're having a fantastic winter. The same flood conditions and massive amount of water flow that is causing other people heartache and headache and actual loss and difficulty in getting things done. I mean, this is what they live for. And I can say without a doubt, one of the first times I went to Suck Creek when I first moved here, and we're talking mid-'80s here, so we're talking about the sport has progressed a lot. Yeah. And I saw paint on some of the rocks, and I was like asking a local guy, I mean, what is this? He goes, oh, it's kayakers come down there. I said, kayakers come down through here? No, you're lying. Yeah. You're lying. I did not believe it. And of course, and up in my neck of the woods, some of the creeks that we go to with our swim holes, you would never believe that they were paddleable, navigable. And by God, I don't know if there's any that don't get run around here.
The same thing with climbing too, because again, when I've been out hiking, it's been kind of fun to come across some guys that are climbing. I was out at Edwards Point one time when one of the rescue teams was actually doing a training. Yeah. And that was fun just for me because I like to take pictures.
You think you're remote and suddenly you come around, there's 20 people with pads hanging out there and eating lunch.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's cool because a couple of years ago we had a writer who was from New York State, and there was a community up there that was considering an aquarium project. So he came in and he said, can I interview any of your guests as we're going through this tour? I said, sure, talk to whoever you want. And we ran into a couple from Little Rock, Arkansas, man and wife and his 2 kids. They're aquarium members, and they came to Chattanooga frequently because they are climbers as well. And so they, would make the aquarium part of their visit when they would go climbing. They, loved the fact that High Point was here where they could do some indoor climbing with the kids while, they did, bigger things. And in the course of this interview, it turns out that this guy on that particular trip was interviewing for a position. He was a physician in Cleveland. And they were going to move from Arkansas here for the climbing. And so,
I believe it.
There's a lot of people like that.
And I'll move kind of quickly here. We got just under 3 minutes. And I said, by the way, if y'all have not seen the new movie that stars and was directed by Travis Scott, one of the world of snowboarding, the biggest, high mountain, high elevation, insane people. He actually does the Pacific Gyre.
Yep, right.
It's just the entire area that's affected by the Pacific, circular movement. And so from Japan to, the Vancouver and all these places. And I'm such a fan of those People Are Amazing videos, that whole series. And it's incredible what human beings can do. As down as I am on people right now, I mean, I had to go back and look at these things and go, hey, we're pretty cool sometimes,
Right. We've got a film. One of the ones we're showing this year is 5 veterans descending the Grand Canyon, Colorado River, who happen to be blind.
Oh my God.
And so, I mean, we've got those. We've got, like I said, a 92-year-old trail runner. Just his stories are so inspiring. We've got a film with Alex in it. And, I'm looking forward to going and see Free Solo this weekend because he's such a great character. When we showed him in Sufferfest and some of the other films with him before, that the deserts weren't uncomfortable enough, so this time they're climbing in Antarctica. So I don't know where they go.
2 brothers that always,
they
always do the nutsy stuff with no experience.
Right, Alex and Cedar are going to do that. So they may have to climb on Mars next to find somewhere worse.
They're trying to do this cross South Pacific Arctic Ocean paddle, and the one from last year or 2 years ago. And they literally crash on a coral reef. They're so close to their destination point, and they're sitting out there. One of them's bleeding to death out there on this coral reef, and sharks are everywhere.
Right.
And he's literally hallucinating as the moon comes up. He goes, "Oh, that feels much better." And now it's warming up.
And that was a different group of crazy partners. It's hard to keep them straight.
There's plenty of crazy people out there.
Right.
All right. So look out, Wild Film Festival. I've got a pair of tickets here. We'll give us $889.49 on Fred the Show, and I will turn you into those things. You just have to promise to go. Don't burn tickets. That's against my religion. And Tom Benson and Andy Johnson, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for bringing stuff like this to town. It's just, I guarantee you, both of these things, the film festival and this movie, will inspire you to get off the couch. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to go climb El Capitan. Maybe you just walk to Edwards Point.
Yep. And watch somebody else climb.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're a nation of voyeurs. We know that for a fact. So, I mean, go out and do some voyeurism. That didn't sound at all like I meant for it to. On the radio. Thank you very much for the show.
I'm the dude, you know, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Dive teams say they found more parts of that plane that went down Monday. John Scruggs with the Sheriff's Office dive team said that they have a key area that they're searching, and they've employed high-tech camera equipment that was brought in to help with the search. It can dive autonomously without human assistance. There are still human divers on the case, although they can only be submerged for about an hour due to the cold temperatures. The Lookout Mountain Drug Task Force announced a massive bust conducted in Rossville. Reports say 15 people were arrested and charged with 32 different drug charges related to possession of marijuana, meth, coke, pills, and guns. Investigation is still ongoing. A Ray County girl, just 10 months old, was booked into Erlanger Children's Hospital here in Chattanooga, suffering from severe bruising and a fractured arm. Detective Rocky Potter in Ray County told WTVC that James Earl Alexander was arrested, charged with aggravated child abuse. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
92.7 Nuga Radio.
Oh, it can happen to anyone. Flat tire, overheated engine, or just a clackety-clack, and now you're on the side of the road. No worries, because Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is there 24 hours a day for you. That's right, 24-hour-a-day emergency roadside assistance. And you don't have to accept who your insurance company or your road assistance provider sends you. At Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, we want you off the road as safely and soon as possible. So they'll be there in a jiffy. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery with 24-hour emergency roadside service. Call 800-407-2371. That's 800-407-2371. Online, yateswrecker.com. That's yateswrecker.com. On Facebook at Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, LLC. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery. We don't want your arms and legs, just your toes. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is a Nuga Radio 92.7 First Responder Friday sponsor. To our first responders, Doug Yates Towing and Recovery says thank you.
The water we drink should be the most perfect on the planet. At Purity Water, we set the bar extremely high. As a leader in bottleless water treatment systems, we create the healthiest, cleanest water there is, liquid purity. The Purity water cooler dispensers and coffee makers can transform your workplace with a continuous supply of clean, fresh, great-tasting water. And now, to make your day that much brighter, we're serving Stone Cup and Fleetwood Premium locally roasted coffee. Some would call that the nectar of the gods, but here at Purity Water, it's just business as usual. To put a smile on the faces of your employees and visitors, and for your free trial, give us a call at 423-894-0737 or find us online at puritydrinkingwater.com. That's puritydrinkingwater.com.
Yeah, but Thompson, what's the charge? Possession of a concealed weapon and disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace? I got thrown out of a window. What's the charge for getting pushed out of a moving car, huh? Jaywalking?
Nuga Radio.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that
Blind Boys of Alabama. Used to be the Five Blind Boys of Alabama, and they started dropping off. I'm not even sure that there is a remaining original member left. It became Clarence Fountain and the Blind Boys of Alabama, but that was the first Bonnaroo, 2002. And talking about the blind veterans making their way down the Grand Canyon and the Colorado River. And they walked out on stage, and they all had their hands on each other's shoulders as they walked out and were being led. And then they just break into this stuff. And your faith in something higher is increased substantially. I know we had a couple of phone calls during the commercial break there.
Yes.
Was that for the tickets or just to chide us again?
No. Congratulations to Mark Pierce.
Mark Pierce.
Yep.
Got himself a pair of tickets to see Lookout Wild Film Festival. And of course, that is its own entity and institution. It's going to be at the Tivoli this year. And that remarkable new screen and sound system down there will make all of those things just seem so incredible. It will just really increase the experience. And then again, the free Solo movie at the IMAX this weekend. I'm serious. When I go to see stuff like that, here I am. I'm 58 years old. I'm broke. I'm broken. I'm both. I'm broke and broken. I had gone 56 years of high activity. I'd never broken a major bone, never really injured myself, concussed myself more than a few times, I'm sure. But then the spring of 2017 comes around and I blow my leg into 1,000 pieces. And then the incident back in June where I got shot and laid me low. And I have packed on pounds because of 2 summers of inactivity. And I'm so desperate to get back out there and really start doing stuff. And it's a downward spiraling cycle. You know, you just don't feel like you're up to it, so you don't do it, and it just makes it that much worse. When I go see things like this, I mean, I don't think of, the things I haven't done. I think of the things that I could still do. Mm-hmm. And I literally start getting antsy in my seat going, why am I sitting here watching this when I could be doing something?
Look, I'm ready for warm weather because you've already promised me you would hook me up with some hang gliding.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm ready.
Well, you heard Tom was saying he would love to go, and it's not that hard to get a brother hooked up or sister or anybody else. If somebody wants to do something tandem, paragliding or hang gliding or whatever. That new movie, I can't think of, what is it called? The one that has Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart in it. Is it The Green Book? Is that what it's called? No. Whatever it is, it's got Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart in it, and it's a true story. And the guy was kind of the upside. He was kind of one of those characters like Richard Branson or the guy that owns Tesla. I can't think of his name right now. Elon Musk. He was an adventurer. And he spent it was a vast quantity of money that he had made, and he had a paragliding accident. And it's just, it is really such the air sports are so much safer than most people believe. It's really a shame that it only gets kind of shown when something wrong happens.
See, my only fear would be like to wind up like that gentleman did in Switzerland or wherever it was, where they forgot to hook him in.
Well, I don't think they forgot. I'll be totally frank with you. I think they probably had him hooked in. And usually when you're hang gliding, that is the only, it's pilot error every time. Again, think of that. Nothing really happens in the air. There's not a whole lot that can happen in the air, at least that you can't recover from. It's the 2 points where you make contact with Mother Earth. The launch and the landing. And very often when you have people who are new to the sport, super excited, or have family members there, they'll get hooked in, and then they'll unhook themselves to go over and kiss their girlfriend or, have a selfie taken. Mm-hmm. And they go back and they just kind of assume the position and they forget. But yeah, I've seen that video, and he is amazingly lucky. I just don't think that instructor actually allowed him to take off without being hooked in. I have a feeling that's probably on him. Thank you guys for tuning in to Fred the Show today on Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. Jeff Styles, the host here, along with Jason the Argonaut. And we're going to make him earn that name. We're going to take him on a series of adventures. Let's kill Jason. Starting sometime in the very near future. Let's not kill. Let's not kill.
Let's not tase. No.
Good morning, caller.
We call him the Argonaut. We're going to put him in a NASCAR, and then you get the other one, and we'll see who wins.
I don't know
what? He's going to be able to turn that wheel with his belly, though.
I tell you what, man, that's one thing you probably would not see me thrive at. Speed is not my
speed is your friend in all these sports, but not in a vehicle. I'm a slowpoke.
That's right. He does the speed limit. I do about 5 to 8 over.
You hit a hot button on me with, I fly powered parachutes, and I've done that since the early 80s, and I've always admired you guys because at least I had an engine. But, I think you'd appreciate back in the early 80s, Steve Snyder, who developed the Ram Air Chute.
Yes.
He developed these, and we had twin 15 horsepower counter-rotating prop engines, and you'd hear the two-cycle go,
yeah, sound like a mosquito
coming down without an engine. I'm like, how do they do it in hang gliding? You have to land on a road or something.
Well, I was going to say, you guys had a little extra weight strapped to your back. I mean, that's what Again, I was talking about. Unfortunately, this terrible situation out on the lake down there at Hobo Bluff and Possum Creek area, and if you get a tailwind that matches your speed, you suddenly just become an object in the air. You're no longer airworthy. And that's the thing. I think with hang gliding, you don't ever put yourself into that position. You think, can I make that field if I don't make this gap? And if you got an engine, you're depending on it, and that's what gets people in trouble.
Jeff, I agree with you. I've been flying I've got almost 2,000 hours in a lot of different planes, and I've seen pilots make real bad decisions. Like, I think I can make it through the storm, or, I crashed my powered parachute. I was in a competition and I was one of the last ones to fly, and the wind actually took my chute, and my one line got tangled, and it just smashed me into the ground because I should have never taken off. And even in the air, you make decisions. Do I turn around or do I go? Nothing can happen up there. The plane flies itself. If you leave it alone, it'll fly.
There's an old saying in all aviation, and certainly it's very popular among hang glider pilots, which is when you're deciding whether or not the conditions are right, it is much better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than be in the air wishing you were on the ground. And I can only think of a couple of times that I was in that situation. It was just literally, there was so much lift, I couldn't get down. And at one point, literally one day, I just let go of the bar and I said, I am a leaf, God. God, I am a leaf. Just set me down gently.
What is your longest flight? And does it ever come a time where you actually lose lift and you have to land?
Yeah,
I'm going to listen on the radio. And
Sure.
what do you do when that happens? I wanted to hear that. I never heard your longest flight.
I can tell you that. I took off from Whitwell, which is it used to be a cliff launch area, which is very different, but it was when it's what we call over the back. Most of the ramps around here for hang gliding and paragliding, for that sake, face northwest. That's the prevailing direction of the wind around here. And strangely enough, actually, Mount St. Helens disrupted that to a degree. It changed it a few degrees. Most of the ramps are a little bit off now, the ones that were originally built in the 70s. But if it's over the back, if it's coming, southeast, then southwest you're going to always have a lot of just mechanical turbulence and stuff like that. So it's not going to probably the most pleasant flight, but you can't take off in a tailwind. You can't run fast enough to get, enough lift in one of those kind of craft. And so I was at Whitwell and I flew with a friend who has one leg. And he's one of the best pilots in the world. His name is Tip. He's from Knoxville and a real character. And we launched, and he flew to Crossville, and I flew to Pikeville. And I guess, what was that? 30 some odd miles from Whitwell to Pikeville, 30 something miles, and just had to pick a place to land. And you have to be kind of mindful, obviously, of where you're going to be landing and make sure that not only is it clear, you don't have power lines, you're not going to be, landing in a swamp or, barbed wire fences or stuff, but also not landing in somebody's property that's going to, take offense. But he made it all the way to Crossville with no trouble whatsoever. And that's a difference between somebody who just plain could do it all the time. And he was in a position where, that's what he did. He flew. And I had already kind of moved beyond that time in my life. I actually had kids and things to do. And so I actually had to sit down simply because I needed to get home. Lengthwise, 3.5 hours, I guess. Elevation, not very high, to be frank. I've got friends who've, here in this neck of the woods have launched and achieved 10,000 feet plus. And I think probably I topped out at probably about and I say 4,500 feet over. And when people say over, that means over the ramp. So you're launching. The ramp right next to my house is at 1,500 feet over the valley. Lookout Mountain's about 1,300 feet over the valley, the landing area. So when you say you're 4,500 feet over, that's over the ramp. So you'd have to add that. But it's a beautiful sport. And to me, it's the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing sport to participate in and to watch. I mean, when you get up there on a good day, it's just amazing to see all those beautiful, colorful craft in the air. And I sent you, Jason, a video of my youngest son going tandem. And I actually got accused by people of photoshopping toward the end of it. It's got a great old Fleetwood Mac song called Hypnotized as the soundtrack, and Bob Welch song with Fleetwood Mac. And there's this, I guess people get this idea that you're always going forward, you're moving forward, you're flying downward or something, but actually you're usually tacking into the wind. So you're kind of just cramming along sideways, and you just like sailing. Like you actually develop an addiction. You know, when you say adrenaline junkies, it's actually an addiction to lateral movement. Surfing a kayak in a wave, hang gliding, skiing, snowboarding, all of these things. There's a thing in your brain, in your inner ear, that actually produces serotonin and dopamine and all this stuff when you are moving laterally. And it's because it's just kind of an unnatural thing for us to do. Some people are terrified by it, and other people are just immediately addicted to it. And that shot that people said I'd photoshopped, it's just a shot of my son and the tandem pilot that took him, Clark Harlow, probably one of the best pilots on the East Coast anywhere. And that means east of the Mississippi. And it just looks surreal. It doesn't look like it's real because they're just kind of just moving sideways, and it's such a clear shot. You know, it's when GoPros were first invented. So now you got this digital video, and it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And the thing I like best about that video is the smile on my son's face when they launch. And, you know, and Clark and these other people that could take you tandem up at Lookout, they'll give the bar to you and say, have at it. There's nothing you can do that I can't undo. And
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a done deal. Thank you, People's Home Equity, for sponsoring Fred the Show. Looking for a home? Get that process started. People's Home Equity, your local mortgage professionals. Chatmortgage.com. Chatmortgage.com, 2 T's, NMLS 66247. Thanks to all the folks who listen. Thanks to all the folks who have participated. Have another guest or two coming in tomorrow. Got to call into Tennessee American, talk about that WWTA situation. Got Mickey McCamish coming in tomorrow. Talk about they need some volunteers to pick up the wreaths from the Wreaths Across America holiday thing that they've been doing for years around here. Keep on listening.
I'm the dude, you know, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Are you looking to buy a home? You go online and search, or you ride through the areas you want to move to, looking for time stands still when you see it. You know, that home. But you spend all that time. You build up all that excitement to find out that you only qualify for... Maybe you have a few things on your credit that keeps you from... things that you could take care of. You know what you should do. Call the mortgage professionals at People's Home Equity. They specialize in... They help home buyers go from... to... People's Home Equity is a great place to start the home buying process. 591-9801. You need more than less. People's Home Equity, 591-9801.
Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal housing.
Nuga Radio Action Sports now brought to you by Apollo Hair Systems, 5512 Ringo Road, Chattanooga. Bowden scores 20 with UT winning over Missouri, 87-63. Jordan Bowden came